Most people may not realise it, but the UK owns more than £3 billion worth of Bitcoin. This is of course due to criminal seizures, and the government now faces the dilemma of what to do with this digital asset. And it's now 25 years since the then Chancellor Gordon Brown's infamous sale of the nation's gold reserves. So can Rachel Reeves avoid repeating the mistake of underselling public assets again? Today's episode is sponsored by Cake Wallet, where you can send, receive, and even exchange your crypto right from within the wallet. Cake Wallet is open source and non-custodial, so you control your own private keys. Available today on iOS, macOS, Android, and Linux. And StealthEX, a privacy-centric crypto exchange which enables you to make crypto-to-crypto exchanges anonymously. Hi everybody, and welcome again to another episode of Enter Crypto with me, Chris Kenyon. Now in today's video we're going to be talking about Rachel Reeves. She's in charge of around £3 billion worth of Bitcoin that the UK government is holding. And there's talks that she might be looking at selling this Bitcoin. We know that the German government have just recently sold a boatload of Bitcoin. And so in this video, we're going to find out whether the UK is likely to follow suit. There's also a comparison to Gordon Brown. He actually sold a lot of sold a lot of gold in 1999. And it was actually at one of the historic lows of the price of gold. So it was, in hindsight, it was a really bad decision. But, you know, he wasn't to know that it was going to go up after. So let's just jump straight into this article, give it a quick read through, and then we'll comment after. So in the summer of 2021, a former takeaway worker, Jian Wen, was arrested for allegedly acting as a front person for an investment scam in China. Convicted of money laundering, over 61,000 bitcoins were seized from her criminal enterprise. Now, when the bitcoin was seized, it was worth £1.4 billion. However, due to Bitcoin's notorious price volatility, the value has now surged to £3 billion. With the price of a single Bitcoin more than doubling from just over 30k to around 65k. Earlier this year, the CPS obtained a property freezing order against Ms. Wen, meaning the crypto assets are now held by the government. A civil recovery process is underway to prove the Bitcoin was illegally acquired, and if successful, Ms. Wen will forfeit the assets, allowing the British government to decide their fate. Germany, another nation with a large crypto reserve, recently sold 50,000 Bitcoin worth approximately $3 billion. Or £2.3 billion, mostly seized from criminals, and this mass sell-off contributed to Bitcoin's price slump from 65k to 55k in late June, though it has since recovered. Rachel Reeves may soon have the opportunity to follow Germany's example and bolster the nation's finances by selling its newly acquired crypto assets, but should she? So in 1999, Gordon Brown decided to sell 56% of the UK's gold reserves, which was 400 tonnes, at an average price of $275 an ounce, totaling approximately $3.5 billion. The timing was poor, as gold prices had steadily declined from their 1980 peak of $686. Experts warned that the price was relatively low and could quickly recover, and it did. By the mid-2000s, the price had already doubled, and today gold's price is around $2,470 an ounce, which is 9 times higher than what Gordon Brown sold it for. So if he had held on to the 400 tonnes he sold, they would now be worth $31 billion, or over £24 billion. This would provide the current Labour government with nearly £5 billion extra each year during its term. Given this hindsight of a catastrophic error by one Labour Chancellor, would it be wise for another to learn from this mistake and hold on to the vast Bitcoin reserve that has unexpectedly come into her possession? So firstly, let's just talk about the gold sale in 1999. So Gordon Brown sold this 400 tonnes of gold for $275. It's now worth almost $2,500. This is per ounce. So it's very easy to now say, in hindsight, that he made a massive mistake because you're just looking at today's price and you're looking at that price then. But at that time and on that day when he sold it, he had no idea what the future was going to be, as nobody does. Nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow with the market or next week. It's all very, hindsight, it's very easy to say after the event that he made a mistake because gold's gone up so much. But nobody knew it was going to go up. So, and nobody knew whether it might go down as well. The same with Bitcoin. We don't know what price Bitcoin's going to be tomorrow, if it's going to be lower than it is today or not. And because if we did, we'd all be very rich. So in reality, nobody knows this information. Now, the question of selling it at all, I think that was a bad decision. Not to sell it for the price that it sold for, it just sold for that price, and that was the global price on that particular day. But to sell the gold was a mistake, in my opinion. Not because it was going to go up in price in future, because again, like I said, nobody knows that. But it's just such a stable thing to have. In your reserves as a country, to sell half of your country's reserves. I mean, I think that's just balmy. Gold is a metal that's been used to preserve value and hold value for thousands of years. The ancient Egyptians and before that. I mean, that's only what we know. There'll have been civilizations before that most likely used gold as well, that we just don't have any records of. So it's extremely reliable and stood the test of time. To now sell half your, it's over half actually, it's 56% of the UK's gold reserves he sold. So, I mean, it's just, I don't understand why he would do that. But he did. And so now that Germany's sold their Bitcoin, and Rachel Reeves, the UK Chancellor, may sell our Bitcoin, the UK's Bitcoin, if they obtain it, through this court process, then I'm sure in the future we'll be saying the same thing, because it's, Bitcoin is disinflationary. So it's not certain, but it's, as I say, nobody knows the future, but it's likely, in my opinion, to go up in price in the future. So I believe that it will, but I obviously don't know that it will. And if Bitcoin ever goes to 300, 500, $600,000 per Bitcoin, we'll be looking and laughing back at the government saying, why would you do that? In reality, that's not really the right question. Why would you sell it for that price? The question is, why would you sell your Bitcoin at all? Just like the gold, and it's because I think the government just doesn't get it. Especially a Labour government. I'm not here to knock parties and get political about it and pick sides, but I just mean that usually Labour have not been good with finances, or things related to money, and the economy has not been its strongest whenever Labour's been in. They do lots of other good stuff. I'm not, as I say, I'm not knocking Labour. It's not a dig or anything like that. But that's just how it is. That's just how it's been. It's been economically better, the country, when we've had Conservatives in power. Usually, not always, but usually. And so it wouldn't surprise me at all if once the government gets this legal acquisition of this Bitcoin through this court process, that they'll sell it. I'm sure they will, because they just, in my opinion, just don't get it. And I wouldn't expect a Labour government to get it. I mean, if they don't see the value in gold, then they're certainly not going to get it with Bitcoin, which some even call Bitcoin, digital gold. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. It's a really interesting article there. It gives us a lot to think about. Let me know in the comments below what you think. And as always, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on the notifications bell so that you don't miss out on any future updates. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care.